Hello, America. This is Call of Duty Goddess. Today is October the 18th, 2016. It seems there's been a quid pro quo between the FBI and the State Department. FBI files showed top state official tried to influence Bureau on Clinton emails. So we'll take a stroll over to the Oversight and Reform YouTube channel and do a little research. We'll get started with an interview that Wolf Blitzer did with Jason Chaffetz. My apologies for Wolf Blitzer.
You did put out a very strong statement today accusing the Undersecretary of State, Patrick Kennedy, of, quote, bartering with classified information. Why are you laying the blame on Kennedy when it's unclear, at least based on the information we have, who requested any favor? Do you have any evidence that this exchange even happened?
Yes, I do, because it's in the FBI notes. It was an FBI document that said, from the FBI's perspective, that they were engaged with Patrick Kennedy, the Undersecretary for Management, direct report to Hillary Clinton, that they were engaged in a quid pro quo. That is a quote right out of their report. And remember,
but it's sort of unclear,
Congressman. They were under subpoena.
Who raised the issue first? The FBI agent who was talking with Kennedy, or Kennedy? Who came up with this so-called quid pro quo idea? The State Department allowing more FBI agents to serve at embassies around the world, or the declassification of this Hillary Clinton email on the private server? Whose idea was it first?
Well, you have the Undersecretary for Management throwing this out there. Remember, this is a document that is under subpoena. And rather than complying with the subpoena and sending it to Congress as required by law, they're over there having a negotiation and a discussion that the FBI terms in their own documents as a quid pro quo. I'm not exactly definitive or sure whose idea it was first, but you have one party saying, I've got slots overseas that I really need. You have another one saying, I need to change the classification of an email to protect Hillary Clinton, and they have this discussion, and it goes on for some time. It's not like, hey, this was just quick. It went up the food chain. It was being negotiated. It was being discussed.
So let's go a little bit further into what Chaffetz is talking about here. Chaffetz is referring to the 302s, the documents that the FBI would not provide to Congress under subpoena. They only gave a certain amount of 302s, not all of them. So in this September 12th congressional hearing, let's hear a portion of what took place.
So let me say this. I think the director made principled decisions about what to say to Congress when he was here and also what to provide to Congress.
So the FBI director, James Comey, is the one who made the decisions of what 302s were given to Congress. Let's hear it one more time.
The director made principled decisions about what to say to Congress when he was here and also what to provide to Congress.
And then in this hearing, this FBI agent was served a subpoena on behalf of Congress for the rest of the 302s.
Will the FBI provide to Congress the full file with no redactions of personal identifiable information?
I cannot make that commitment sitting here today.
Then I'm going to issue a subpoena, and I'm going to do it right now. So let's go. I've signed this subpoena. We want all the 302s, and we would like the full file. You can accept service on behalf of the FBI?
Certainly.
You are hereby served.
This past weekend, Congress received the rest of the 302s that were given to them by the FBI due to this subpoena. This is where Congress has found the quid pro quo deal. And I have a feeling that there may be a cover-up going on with James Comey, because if it weren't for him, Congress would have had all of the 302s.
And there are multiple parts in the 302s where Mr. Kennedy was repeatedly, not just in this one case, repeatedly pressuring people to change the classification of documents that are under subpoena.
Right.
Nobody should be able to do that. Nobody.
Now, do you have any evidence that Hillary Clinton herself knew anything at all about this so-called quid pro quo?
No, I don't. To say that Hillary Clinton directed this, I have no evidence of this. But you have a person who directly reports to Hillary Clinton. You also have, in these 302s, Hillary Clinton's own attorneys at Williams & Conley left their employment at Williams & Conley, went to work at the State Department. You have a State Department career employee said that upstairs on the 7th floor they were operating, and I quote, a shadow government, end quote. So instead of Hillary Clinton just opening up, saying, hey, I made a mistake, let's get all these documents out there, as she has said, that is not true. Her actions were to bring in her own attorneys, push aside the career employees, and make these determinations with her own personal attorneys rather than the career employees.
But
that is so wrong.
What's really wrong is that we would not have this problem if the Senate would not have confirmed Hillary Clinton to begin with. So let's find out why Hillary Rodham Clinton should not have been confirmed in the first place. According to this article by Time from March 31st, 2016, in 1996, after months of work, Comey, who is now the FBI director, James Comey, came to some damning conclusions. And they were that Hillary Clinton was personally involved in mishandling documents and had ordered others to block investigators as they pursued their case. Worse, her behavior fit into a pattern of concealment. She and her husband, Bill, had tried to hide their roles in 2 other matters under investigation by law enforcement. Taken together, the interference by White House officials, which included destruction of documents, Comey and his fellow investigators concluded that it was a highly improper pattern of deliberate misconduct. And this woman was confirmed by the Senate. And now she is running for president.
You know, the FBI director, James Comey, and other FBI officials, they knew all about this so-called quid pro quo, and they decided not to recommend any criminal charges against Hillary Clinton. You have a problem with that?
Yeah, I do have a problem with it.
And I have a problem with it as well. And so should every American out there, because it seems that from the 1990s, in which I just referenced from the Time magazine article, all the way up to 2016, James Comey has not only been the one investigating the Clintons, but time and time again, he is connected to them somehow financially, inadvertently throughout the years, and astoundingly letting them off the hook time and time again, except for in the 90s when his superiors let the Clintons off the hook. So Mr. Chaffetz should not only ask for Mr. Kennedy's resignation, he needs to ask for FBI Director James Comey's resignation as well. Now let's move on to this clip from Fox News.
There certainly is evidence to suggest a broader conspiracy to change the classification of the emails in a way that would benefit the State Department and would shield Hillary Clinton in any investigation. And that is not simply our assessment here at Fox News. That was the assessment of an FBI official who oversaw classification of documents and emails. This is a very serious matter. This was the conclusion of the FBI, not of Republicans and not of any news organization.
After hearing that, it really makes you think about a cover-up for James Comey. Because if you listen to this video, and I'll leave the link below, you'll understand that the FBI purposefully withheld the 302s from Congress. And when you take that into consideration with the horse trading that Chaffetz said went on between the FBI and the State Department.
Well, you have the Undersecretary for Management throwing this out there. Remember, this is a document that is under subpoena. And rather than complying with the subpoena and sending it to Congress as required by law, they're over there having a negotiation and a discussion that the FBI terms in their own documents as a quid pro quo. But you have one party saying, I've got slots overseas that I really need. You have another one saying, I need to change the classification of an email to protect Hillary Clinton. And they have this discussion, and it goes on for some time. It's not like, hey, this was just quick. It went up the food chain. It was being negotiated. It was being discussed.
And if you keep in mind that the only way the horse trading could have been going on is if the FBI Director James Comey kept a portion of the 302s from Congress to use for horse trading. So not only should Patrick Kennedy's resignation be handed in immediately, but the resignation of James Comey should be demanded as well. And we should have hearings to get to the bottom of Hillary Clinton's and John Kerry's role in all of this. And with all that being said, I have a few words from Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch that we all need to keep in mind.
And the other uncomfortable point I'm going to bring up, at least from the point of view, I think, of many Republican leaders, is that they can also impeach Mrs. Clinton. And they don't have to wait for her to be president to impeach her. Congress retains the ability to impeach a federal officer for conduct, whether that officer whether that officer is still in office or not. So they can impeach Mrs. Clinton for misconduct as Secretary of State right now. And you tell that to a Republican member of Congress, and the general response you get is stunned silence, but it's true. And the sanction would be, this is the way it works in the House, is you impeach the member, the official in the House, and that's kind of like an indictment, and that's moved to the Senate for a trial. And the result of the Senate trial, if there's a conviction, one of the sanctions could be ineligibility for future public office. Boy, wouldn't that be an interesting process, at least to begin or talk about? But you don't want to hear any Republicans talking about that. But the fact is, Mrs. Clinton can be impeached for her conduct as Secretary of State. So the next time you hear Congress complaining about the FBI and the Department of Justice, you know, and the cover-up and the wired investigation that resulted in no criminal charges on the Clinton email matter, you know, that's all fine and good. But remember that Congress has independent tools available to it under the Constitution to prosecute the Clinton scandal, and there are tools they're refusing to use. So I think there needs to be some accountability on that.